So in a recent interview with Steve Goncalves, Kaylee's dad, he mentioned that one of the victims' injuries didn't match the other one. That one of their injuries was more brutal than the others. Which points us in the direction of this definitely being a targeted attack. And yeah, just like Steve says, someone who entered through the back door on the second floor climbed those stairs for a reason. Like, I've heard lately they were saying that Sigma Chi was where the perpetrator was and where it all started, and the target was Ethan and Xana. But now it makes sense from what Kaylee's dad is saying. Yeah, maybe it would have ended there, but maybe Xana and Ethan heard something and Ethan came out to check on it, and yeah. Here's the interview. Let me know what you guys think. I don't even know if anyone is seeing this video. This is a brand new channel, so if you're seeing these videos, drop a like or something. I would appreciate that.
Steve, before we start this interview, I just want you to know how much our hearts go out to you. That I know from what I'm hearing from people everywhere that they are with you, they're praying for you, and they're also hoping for justice to come sooner rather than later for your daughter and her friends. You mentioned here, you talked about the manner in which Kaylee and Maddie were killed is different. And what does that tell you, and what are the police telling you that means?
There's a couple things that tell me with common sense, but I'm not a professional, so I want to specify that. But they've said the entry point was the slider or the window. It was in the middle floor. So to me, he doesn't have to go upstairs. His entry and exit are available without having to go upstairs or downstairs. Looks like he probably may have not gone downstairs. We don't know that for sure, but he obviously went upstairs. So I'm using logic that he chose to go up there when he didn't have to. And I can kind of tell by my daughter's texts, messages. She didn't call 911. She wasn't saying anything along the lines of like she had heard something or she was in fear. So I'm just putting the doctor. As far as the investigators, they're very tight-lipped and they're keeping everything close to their vest. And I understand that, and I'm probably not the right person to share all these things with. So I'm just trusting them that their case is super tight and they don't really need to reach out to the community. And, you know, all the evidence is right there in that home.
So, Steve, and I want to be respectful, as I can tell you're trying to walk this tightrope as well with law enforcement, but the desire to know and get some type of action as well. You've said both now to Rachel and then in the clip in your appearance with Lawrence Jones that your daughter and Maddie had different means or manner of attack, and that suggests one of them was targeted. Can you share with us, do you know, and you can't share either way, which one was targeted?
I can't. I asked for permission to do just that, and they said no. I probably disclosed information that they wish I wouldn't have said, but the story's going cold. There's less people coming to Moscow. I'm not gonna go sleep in my bed knowing that I could get up and I could go to town and I could do something. And I'm not gonna go away, and I hate to be a pain, but as a father, I just can't even sleep thinking that I could be doing something. So that's why I'm up.
Understandable. Wow.
Let me ask the flip side too. You're being respectful toward police about the fact that they need to be tight-lipped. But if there was something you felt like you deserved to know or you should know as a father at this point, are there questions you have unresolved from the police that you feel like, hey, just throw me a bone here and let me know?
For sure. I mean, alibis, just share the alibi. If you're not sharing an alibi, to me, it tells me that you're not 100% confident that it's going to stick, or you have somebody who's going to come forward and say, hey, I don't know what he told you or that person's alibi was, but I have this information. I have something. So if you don't share the alibi, it makes it a little bit harder for us to just let those go And I've said it before. I don't want to make victims out of just bystanders and witnesses. So I just share those things, and that would help.
Steve, do you get the sense that you're being asked to not talk more, and that law enforcement is being so tight-lipped to protect an investigation that is honing in on a conclusion, or because they're totally lost and there is no real sense of direction? And I think all of us, we want to trust law enforcement. We want them to do their job. But I don't know if you know. I have no idea. Is this thing honing in at this point, or is it scattered all over the place?
Wish I knew for sure. I did sit down with the investigator, the lead investigator, and I looked in his eyes, and I got a sense that this guy was going to do everything in his power to figure something out. But if the evidence isn't there, that's the part that I'm concerned. And then there's layers of separation. The communication is not the same as the boots on ground. All the officers that are out on the streets, those guys, they're working their tails off. But there's a different person to do the communication, and that guy's sitting with the lawyer, and that guy's sitting there telling him, you got to protect things that are beyond the case, like the town and the community and the college itself. Those don't matter as much to me. I mean, I definitely don't want to hurt them, but I have an agenda, and I think it's pretty clear. It's these two girls, and that's what I'm working for, and I'm not going to let that story fall apart just because they don't want wanted posters, on their next rush of students that come into town.
Wow. I have to say, Steve, I hadn't really considered those factors, but it's obvious that that would be a consideration for the communications director of the police department and also the PR for the school and the town. Are you communicating with the parents of the other victims? Are they feeling as frustrated as you are? And I hate to ask a two-part question, but I'm going to do it anyway. Do you feel confident in the police investigation and the people investigating right now?
I do not feel confident, and that's why I push the envelope and say a little bit more. I hate to be that guy, but there's a job to do for everybody. Has a job and a role to play, and this is my role as the parent. I have talked to obviously Maddie's mother and her father, and I've talked to Xana's father, and he said, hey, you can speak on behalf and you can help push this narrative. So I feel confident there. That's as far as the real communications that I have. So one family have missed out to being able to be in the same location and the same thing to really get on the same page. So I try not to mention that and stay within my lane of what is my role. And I'm not trying to just gear it all to my daughter. It's just I can't speak for other people.
Yeah. Steve, before we let you go, just share a little bit with our audience about Kaylee.
Kaylee was amazing, hard worker. She hung out with two boys, her brother and her cousin, and she was right in between them. She wanted to be faster than them. She was that girl that was really she was kind of like a Punky Brewster type girl. And we missed out on a really smart person that was going to be a little conservative. She was conservative too. She was always looking up stories on child getting trafficked, and she was telling me that she thinks it's a lot bigger than people understand. So, and we can't replace her, guys. There's no replacing any one of these people.
Steve, we're all parents on this couch, and I just can't tell you how much we feel for you, and can't imagine what you're going through, you and your whole family. And I know that you came on the show today because you're hoping that people that might have information, you're hoping that more information come forward. And so we encourage anybody to call 208-883-7180. The phone number is on the screen right now. And I've heard you say it before, Steve, it could be anything. You have no idea how small the piece of information could be that could help.
And Steve, good on you for agitating.
Yes.
We need more men and fathers willing to do precisely what you're doing, keeping people honest and working toward a solution. God bless you.
You're doing your daughter's memory proud. And frankly, you're an amazing example of fatherhood, even after something tragic like this happened to her. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
God bless.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Bye.
All right. Our hearts are with those families as we stay on the top of this horrifying case. We'll be right back.